Many blessings. Come on in and do share. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I pray that you are having an amazing day. And even if it wasn't the day that you feel like it should have been, I pray that in this moment, you will begin to fully understand that you are here so that things that were bothering you, you can let all of that go. You can let all of that go in this space. Join us, and then share with someone else. Giving us a few seconds to gather. We are live on Love Walk Outreach Global pages on Facebook and YouTube, but also we are on the Inspirational Treasure page on Facebook. So welcome to all of you who are joining us on those platforms today or on the replay. Come on in and do share. I get to choose. I get to choose. I hear that. I get to choose. I get to choose. I get to choose. I get to choose. I get to choose whether I'm going to allow this day to take every bit of joy and peace and all of that away from me. I get to choose. One of the hardest things is to be really aware of your emotions. It's a task, it's a job in and of itself. That's what we're doing on this love walk. We're beginning to pay attention to ourselves. We're paying attention to our emotions. We're paying attention to the way we allow things to affect us. We are paying attention. And in order for that thing to stop, to change, we must change the way we see it. So that our lives take on the form that we so desire. Our transformation can happen. You're showing up authentic and true, not denying feelings, emotions, or ways of thinking, just replacing them with one that helps you to experience a different life. I get to choose. Come on in and do share. We're still waiting for you all to gather. I get to choose. I get to choose. Listen, for those of you who are not connected to us on the coffee site, if you're not a supporter, become a supporter. Blessings, Destiny. Become a supporter. Become a supporter. I will not always, ask for you to do something that may feel like it's outside of your comfort zone. But then I had to backtrack that, because truth be told, this entire process of healing and wholeness is a task. Today, I want you to think about the choice. And this choice right here has to do with the conversation that you choose to have with yourself every second of every day. In coaching, I do a lot of affirmations with those that I coach, not because, and this is another reason why those who want to coach with me go through the inspiring me affirmations first, because we need to lay some groundwork, begin to change the way that we think and the way that we speak. This is what's going to lead to a different outcome. But the way that you think and the way that you speak, it changes as you renew your mind, as you begin to learn something different about the way in which to handle something. And we affirm something different. We begin to think different thoughts. The more we fill ourselves up with something, you become that. Whatever you're eating, you become. And so tonight, I want you to consider what you want to govern your days. Govern your sleep, govern your waking moments, govern your bathroom visits, govern your time cooking or going out to eat, or going to spend time with friends and family, or just going out to enjoy yourself, whatever. What governs you? What are you choosing to govern you? Do you sit around and contemplate everything that's not in alignment in your life? Do you do that on a regular basis? Do you sit down to calculate how wrong everything is on a regular basis? Do you calculate how finances need to be this and that and the other on a regular basis? Because I could tell you about me. Yeah, I know I want to do everything that God has assigned for me to do, and I continue to do it, and I continue to do it even through the moments when there is not much to speak of, because I desire to do it. But it would be nice to be able to do that while being able to have a comfortable place where all needs are met, right? And I have spent time muttering over what's wrong, why, all of the negative questions, as opposed to now what I've worked on for months and still have to work on is recognizing when my emotions begin to shift because the financial situation doesn't look the way I want it to. Being mindful of how it feels when there's something connected to money. Money is an absolute wonderful tool. Money answers all things. Wealth is a thing. Prosperity is a thing. Being rich is okay. None of that makes a difference. It's the heart that matters. So let me just put that out there. But when you have such deep emotions connected to it, a person can do something with the money and it affects your entire day, your entire month, your entire year. If somebody doesn't do something on time, you know how many invoices went unpaid just for me to get to the end of it, and God says, forgive the debt. And I'm like, well, Lord. But he's trying to show me what it means to live in the flow of love at all times. Money should never be more important than an individual. So, or if I'm expecting something and it doesn't come and it comes up short, then I need to know how to manage my emotions enough to be able to address the thing and say, hey, did you know that I was short in this area? Hear their response, move accordingly. But when you're walking in love, more than likely, God is going to tell you to forgive a debt. He's going to tell you to let, because the strong bears the infirmity of the weak. So if you've been strong in an area and you're trying to be diligent and you're trying to do what you need to do and you're saving and you're putting everything together, you got your investments and you got all of these things that you learned and you're trying to do your best, and something comes along to test or try your heart, then you go through the emotions. And I go through the emotions, not as much now as I used to, but I definitely, and there was a season where I didn't go through emotions when I was the beginning of raising my older kids. My faith was always huge. Like, I know God gonna provide it. And then I started dealing with people who didn't see my job as important as theirs. It wasn't a real job to them. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to be in this place, you need to be in that place, instead of honoring me for what they received from me. Well, he had to deal with me about that. And here's the truth. You think that I need to change them? You think I need to manipulate them to make them be something? No, I'm not going to make them be anything. They're going to have to grow and learn this lesson for themselves. And they will have to, because whatever we sow, we also reap. So if they taking something from you, if they have not done right, God is going to direct you in a way. But if your heart is holding on to a thing, if it's causing negativity to spring up, if it's causing you to think and literally ruminate on everything that is negative, then God is going to call you back to the table and ask you what your heart is looking like. Are you going to allow these emotions to overtake? Anytime a particular subject comes up from multiple sides, multiple people, and I'm dealing with something similar myself, I'm very leery about talking about it, like when I go live or when I'm preaching or teaching or whatever, because I don't ever want anybody to feel like, okay, is this directed at me? It's probably directed at you, but it's also directed at anybody else who's having that same issue. So I received a couple of messages today concerning some financial situations. And so as I was sitting and thinking about it, I'm like, God, but I'm trying to figure out my stuff. Like, I wrote down some things that need to be done. And then my thoughts wanted to go to the lack of honor conversation that we've had before. You know what I mean? Every servant is worthy of their hire. If you make an agreement with somebody to pay something back, then you should honor that. If you go into a restaurant to eat, you should pay your bill. That's honoring that. And I'm like, God, I'm thinking and muttering over, my own things. So then he allows me to communicate with other people who are dealing and going through the same situation. Literally right before I jumped on here, and I was like, oh, I'm about to respond to this message. And I was like, just hold tight. Just hold tight. Because this conversation is for many. Not only was he talking about the financial stuff, but he was also talking about the path that we choose to walk. Talking about decisions. And he began to, God, y'all just, ooh. There's some things that I can't let everybody into, and I really, really wish I could, but it's to be protected. Nevertheless, I was instructed to have one of my intercessors, one that was walking with me years and years and years ago, still connected to me, still a prophetic intercessor in my life, and a daughter. Um, it's definitely true, Nadia, and I'm about to speak to that because it's still, even when that is the case, you still are responsible for your bruises. You're still responsible for allowing them to heal. And that's what this whole conversation is going to be about today, making the choice to have positive reflection as opposed to negative reflection. And we're going to get into it. So I'm talking to her, gave a message that said, hey, do you have some time? Because right before that, I received a message from one of my other spiritual daughters, and I was okay with it, but all of a sudden there was a check in my spirit somewhere, right? Like it was like why does that feel that way? And so I sat with it for a minute, and God says, message Angela. And so I messaged Prophet Angela. I said, hey, do you have time? And even if she didn't have time because of, how she feels about me, she'll make time. But she just so happened to be available for about 10 minutes or so. And I said, that's sufficient time, but are you available to pray and speak? Now, anybody who's been activated by me or anybody that I've helped to activate when it comes to the prophetic and being an intercessor, then you know how I am. Oftentimes, I will just kind of test it. It ain't nothing in particular. Hey, speak the word that God said. But this was strategic. And we are talking, she's praying, she's feeling emotional. As a matter of fact, I think about 3 or 4 a.m. she said that she was already, she was praying and she just felt this wailing, this weeping concerning me. And the look that was on my face was like I was in excruciating pain. And then she began to start to speak, but I could sense that she didn't want to hurt me by saying some of the things that she needed to say to let me know some of the things that were happening in the spirit realm. But God told me to tell her to go deeper and to say whatever needs to be said. And the things that came up had everything to do with this path that God has me on and has had me on since I was young. Just getting to this place now where you're bold enough to live in the truth of what God told you, because you remember when somebody said, get to know God for yourself. When somebody said, hey, obey what God is telling you to do. And obedience is greater than sacrifice. All these things you begin to remember, and you're like, listen, I gotta do this. I gotta be everything that God told me to be on the path that he put me on. And I gotta keep love as my foundation so that I am not easily knocked over, so that I am thinking on these things that are a good report, that my mind is centered on how to cover these individuals that's doing what they're doing based on their own perception, based on their own traumas and pain and issues. And everything in you, after a while, after you've experienced something multiple times, and then of course it gets more intense with each level of maturity sometimes. But when you become familiar with opposition and what people are doing in their own thing, you're no longer moved as much as you were before. So this particular thing was weighing on me, and I didn't even know what it was until God began to reveal things. And to have the knowledge that something is happening that is intended to destroy you makes you want to quit what you're doing and change paths as to just get out the line of fire. This obstacle or this thing that's before my face, it matches the level, or it matches the next level of maturity that God is taking me into. We call it elevations. We call it, elevations, being elevated to a new position. And often I'm being elevated to new positions, and as you yield to the full, wanting to be whole in God and do what He wants you to do and find your purpose and be all that stuff, you may go through at your own pace. So I'm rapidly going through shifts and what we call elevations in the spirit. So it has to match that. And when you're faced with the negative thing, or the thing that you perceive to be the negative thing, you have to begin to see it through the eyes of the path that you are on. So I choose to come into full agreement with the fact that I am pursuing the Christ mind, right? The same mind that was in Jesus, as I've learned to see it from a figurative, spiritual way. Because everything happens within ourselves. While we're trying to fix it or fix everybody else, God is always going to point us back inward. And so with this information, this could have been the final curtain call. God, I'm not going to deal with this no more. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of how it feels. I could immediately go to the negative thing. Instead, He gives me instructions to give her, while reminding me that, hey, you're going to see some more things. You're going to recognize some of these faces. And but this is going to be the challenge or the test to this next level of maturity, right? How are you going to handle it when you know the faces of the one or the ones that are trying to do this to this person that you value and you love? What you going to do with that? I think that's the reason why God asks and continues to ask my team, certain questions, because, like, do you know what you're up against? And how are you going to handle it? So He says, make sure that whatever faces you see, you pray for them. Pray that the root of what it is that's happening to cause them to be in this place of an evil heart, or a wicked heart, as we could call it, because if it's void of love, then it can be considered to be that. So pray for them. And even though you're going to feel the emotion, begin to deal with yourself first. Deal with that emotion and go right back to your posture in love. This is the position, or the foundation, or the path that I'm choosing to take. So there are going to be reminders, not just in a scenario that somebody's talking, but the reminders are going to come with the experience that you're having. So your reflection could very well turn into something really gruesome, really awful, really tough, really hard. And God is going to cause you, and again, if you choose the path that's leading towards maturity and love, you want to have the same mind that was in Christ Joshua, which is the law of love, which is the law of bearing the burdens of one another, because you understand that somebody has to do it for you. The path that you choose is where your maturity lessons will come from. So you have to make a choice as to even this. Are you going to ruminate on what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're plotting? I've chose a long time ago that I would not make warfare a God in my life. I would not make the challenges that people present to me God in my life, because these things will come. And they will come because you're trying to get from where you are to where it is that you desire to be. I told y'all before, we always say, God, use me, God, help me, rescue me, save me. And when he begins to do that, by allowing certain experiences, you don't see it as salvation. You don't see it as rescue. You see it as something that's trying to cause you to fall out. But it is really to show you that you are on the right track. But you got to choose that path first. Some of you are having confusion because you just don't know which way you want to go. And guess what? God loves you so much that you can stand right there at that fork in the road and think about it and think about it and think about it and think about it. But your reflections, you have to choose whether they're going to be reflections that contribute to getting you closer to where you're trying to go, or whether or not you're going to take a different direction. Either way, God's love is still unconditional, and you can still choose. Right now, you can choose to go and exist in whatever way you want to. I don't want to worry about money, so I can't worry about money. By sight, it looks a certain way. And here, this is the truth, yes? By sight, it can look like doom and gloom. By sight, it can look like life is going to always be this way. By sight, by what you see in the physical. But I choose also to walk by faith, being fully convinced that God is not a man that he should lie. So if it's been a promise to me, if it's something that's within me and it keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing, then my reflections now have to be of a positive nature. Man, there's never been a time that me and my children didn't eat. Even if the refrigerators and the freezers look bare for a season, every day our daily bread was available. So God, you are so powerful that you are responding to that which is my present circumstance and situation without me begging for it, without me pleading for it. You just, and according to my faith be it unto me. I believe that God will provide all of my needs, all of our desires even. It'll be in me. My reflection of times where God allowed those to rise. Because see, here's the thing. If one person won't do it or can't do it because they haven't made a decision to get in alignment yet with the greater message, the oneness, he will raise up another to do it. Do I believe that? Yes, God, I believe that. Because everybody has free will. This person over here may not choose to use that free will to do this, but you will raise up one who's already in the way and ready to respond to the needs of others. Because we are one. All of the needs are met. I wrote down a lot of the things that needed to be done. And I was looking at the numbers, and at one point, my countenance fell. And then I had to be careful of what I was reflecting on. Am I going to reflect on how this is, the end of the month feeling, the middle of the month feeling, anticipating what's coming the next month? Am I going to torture myself ruminating over those things? Over when it almost didn't happen? Or am I going to reflect on how often it always did work out? When it comes to this path, do you believe the message of Yahshua and the other love walk agents who have walked this earth? Because there's been more before him and after. Do you believe the message that he came to bring to help reform? Well, you see, he was ridiculed. He went through the motions. There were people plotting. Are you going to think and reflect on the fact that, hey, he did kind of go to the cross anyway, Lord? Or are you going to reflect on the fact that he was so confident in his purpose that he would not allow anything to deter him from such? This was a human being making human decisions. He had to accept this Christ mind. He had to accept this task. That's why he said, come and learn of me. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Listen, I had to get to this place. So yeah, I know you coming up against the challenges. I know you coming up against the opposition. I'm to the point, y'all, where I don't even want to have the conversation anymore. But the reality is that I ask God to give me the boldness to have as a transparent ministry as possible, because people are really going through these things. If I'm going to help somebody to see something different or give them something to reflect on, then I need to be able to share as openly as possible. I can protect the things that I don't want to share. They're so intimate and they're so deep for me. I keep them within a certain circle. It wasn't nothing different than what Jesus did. Everybody wasn't privy to all the information. But if he allows me to share it, then I'm going to share it. And so choosing a path, divorcing the old mindset that you have to do it the way that everybody made you do it, that's a hard thing to divorce. But am I going to be obedient to the authentic self that's trying to arise out of me? The kingdom of God that has the governance within me, that's saying, hey, this is who you are. This is what you're here to do. Or am I going to live in the negative reflections about who said what, who did what, who's plotting what? I don't want a negative life, so I can't not think about that which is negative. I must think about that which is positive in every situation. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, it wasn't nothing positive about such and such situation. Yeah, except for the tenacity that you gained, except for the bounce back that you have, except for the strength that you have, knowing that you can do things that that other people may not be able to do, to know that you are well equipped to survive, even though it may feel like hell. Guess what? Guess where you are right now in the present, listening to me. So you're still here, you're still alive, and there is still possibilities. When you choose the path, you're saying, I yield, I surrender to what comes along with the growth. That's why we careful what we commit ourselves to, careful what what we choose to make covenant with. If the path that you are choosing is to grow in love or be more like Jesus, right? All of these things we've said before, if that's the path that you're choosing, you are trying to pursue the Christ mind, if you're trying to get closer to God and understand him, you're trying to now be closer to him with your heart than with your lips. Because he said they draw near to me with their lips, they talk all day, but their hearts are far from me. Their hearts are far from love. Their hearts are far from oneness. Their hearts are so busy ruminating. Oh, because so man thinks in his heart. So you're thinking in your heart. You're ruminating in your heart. So this is about choice. Relationships. If everything that you know or you see or you think about a person is of a negative connotation, then guess what? That's all you're going to be able to think on. So positive reflection makes you look at the person from a holistic perspective, not just based on offenses, not just based on what they do and what they don't do, but when you choose your path, you choose the mindset that you're going to grow in, then the reflection turns to something different. The reflection begins to ask God, allow me to see beyond my own perspective, beyond my offense, beyond the thing that has control over me. Allow me to see beyond that. I was talking to my son before I came live. He was asking me some questions, just kind of getting insight or just sharing with me some things that was going on in his life. And we, shared a few things. But in one of the scenarios, we began to talk again about that feeling of not being significant, not feeling supported. And as I'm doing this work, this work to love self and all that, and to embrace the unconditional love of God and all that, a part of what I had to accept is that people don't have to do anything. You can assume, you can want them to, but it's kind of like you trying to change them or make them somebody different when you totally hate somebody trying to force you to be different. So God will begin to take you within yourself to let you see what it is that your heart is thinking. And then you have to make the decision. Am I on a path to contentment, to that peace that surpasses all understanding, to your shalom? Well, if you are, then there's a lot of emotions that you're going to have to control by renewing your mind. Not just doing it to say, well, I didn't say this, or I didn't do this. You come near to me with your lips, but your hearts are far from me. Doing things on a surface level, and if it's not in your heart to do it, that's again why we must be renewed in our mind so that the transformation is real. If you're not renewed in your mind, if you're not trying to change the way that you interpret life so that you can grow into this place of wholeness, then you're going to continue to spin in the same thing, spinning the same block over and over and over again. So when those bruises come, Nadia, and thank you for sharing that message. I use the scenario, we can't expect a broken crayon to color like one that's not broken. So why do we have the expectation of other people who have not healed their hearts yet or dealt with their stuff yet? Why do we expect them to color like a crayon that's whole? Renewing our mind allows us to understand that everybody is at a different level in their life. You have to choose what level you want to be on. You cannot cause anybody else or make anybody else do anything. As a matter of fact, anybody that's forced to do something oftentimes feel very pressed down and oppressed, and then they strike back in their own little rebellious way. The person feels controlled. Oftentimes they may do something so the other person can know, like, nope, you ain't gonna control me, whether I did this or not. And it seems so unfair. I know it does. But what path are you on? There are so many things, so many possibilities of things that can happen in this life. So I don't even pretend to be prepared for what could come. But I know that I want my focus to be on this onslaught of joy and happiness and peace. So I'm going to just go ahead and sit there and imagine that. I'm going to use my faith for that. I don't want to welcome to myself these negative reflections and never get out of this stupor that I'm in? The answer to every question is love. But love has compartments. It has these things, right? I believe emotional intelligence is a part of the love walk. You begin to understand your own emotions, and you begin to learn how to deal with them and put them in proper perspective so that you can be in communities with others and know how to control those things. When you choose the path, when you choose whether you want the negative or the positive, you have to choose to only fill yourself with that which you want to see. The what ifs, the is it gonna work? Oh, everything's gonna be the same. All of those things. Tabaso. Shela mandiokos. We guard our heart with all diligence, but that does not exclude us from participating in life. That's why the transformation is so important. Being a lover of people don't make you naive. As a matter of fact, it gives you, and if you choose to have keen discernment, it can give you some very keen discernment. But it does not change the fact that you're going through a process in this life, and you're going to have to deal with people who are going to be offensive. And at some point, somebody had to deal with you being offensive. The crazy thing is, most of the time, we don't realize that we're offensive until multiple people keep pointing it out and pointing it out and pointing it out, and then we call them haters sometimes. No, God is just trying to show you what's in your heart. Pull up the roots. Pull up the roots. Pull up the roots. Pull up the roots, what's in your heart. And that's, again, based on the path that you choose to follow. If you don't want to follow the path, you ain't ready for that. You ain't ready to forgive. You ain't ready to let things go. You're not ready to see things differently when it comes to finances, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to everything. And you keep the negative reflections going. You don't have to ask then why your life is a certain way or why it's showing a certain result. All you got to do is go in your thinking and find out. So he has to deal with me when things happen and I feel my countenance drop, or I feel my emotions begin to get in that little depressed state. And I'm like, now I'm able to at least tap into it in some way and say, you know what? Not today. Not today. Get up. Walk to the bathroom. Get some water. Shake yourself off. Remember the reality. We are one. And every part of the body supplies something. The brain activates things. The blood circulates everywhere. Like the eyes see for the whole body. The nose smells. The mouth talks. The teeth chatter. The hands, the fingers, the palm of your hand. Every single detail of you has a purpose. And it's the same with the full body of the great I am. It all has a purpose. It doesn't mean that things did not happen. It just simply means that I choose not to ruminate on those things because there are so many more possibilities in this life. So I allow myself. I allow myself to reflect only the positives. Now, do I acknowledge what has happened? Absolutely. You can't forgive something if you don't acknowledge it. If you pretend like it never happened, you pretend like it didn't bother you, all that, you can't heal from that. So you can acknowledge something without ruminating on something. As a matter of fact, the tonight's day 7's message for the 21 days of forgiveness kind of peeks at that a little bit. Reflection, not rumination, not thinking on the thing that broke you over and over and over. It's like experiencing the same thing over and over and over. I choose to think on these things that are of good report. My reflections are that of that which was positive in the circumstance. And I'm telling you, there's some things that you just don't think you can get a positive out of. I've been homeless twice. I wrote a book a long time ago called From Trash to Treasure, and it was speaking about my hopelessness, my helplessness, and my deliverance. And I called my homelessness my deliverance at some point. And if you read the book, then you know why. Because there was things that I wasn't strong enough to do or say to people. So then other things started happening. I had to be removed from those people and those things. So what I could not say at the time, I was able to go through a process and get strengthened enough to be able to say. But until then, my support came. My rescue came. So that I can get a clear mind. The second time, it led me to seeing things through the eyes of love. My cousin calls to say, hey girl, what you doing? We got 5 bedrooms, y'all come here. When people were showing up who loved me to show me honor or to say, you know what, this is what you've done for me, this is what I need to do for you. It was all provision. I had to live by faith. I had to show my kids and teach my kids how to live by faith. We had to pray together so that our minds would not be stuck on the negatives. I remember the first time that we were homeless and we walked into the Salvation Army, and my daughter was like, Mom, I really like the spirit in this place. Now we were going into a shelter. In that shelter, we made so many friends, people that I'm still connected, some that I'm still connected to this day. But after leaving out that night and hugging every single person who lined up on the wall to say goodbye to us, showed me that there was so much more to it than what I thought. I know that you don't want to go through the circumstances. Blessings, Rashida. I know that you don't want to feel the pain that is inflicted. But here's the thing again, if you choose the path of love, or if you call yourself a follower of Christ in any way, or any message from those who have been teaching love throughout the ages, then you know that every bit of work that you do is personal unto you, so that you're then ready to go back out in the community and be everything that God has called you to be. There's no venom in that. There's no hatred in that. There's no unforgiveness in that. There's no ridicule. There's no judgment in that. Harsh judgments against other people because they don't look the way you do, act the way you do, think the way you do. All of that begins to fade when you choose the path, because you're going to work it. If you choose this path, that means that you have decided that, hey, this is something that I want to undertake. I've heard a lot of people say, when I gave my life to God, it seemed like, oh, hell broke loose. Kind of did. Now, get rescued. See, salvation is not about just this one moment. It is about every moment. Every moment when you can say, hey, I need a way of escape. And it's provided. It's about the moments where you're sitting in rumination and all of a sudden you start feeling this heavy weight of depression all over you. And there's that tap in your heart that says, hey, come out of that place. Come out of reflecting on everything that is negative, everything that is causing you to go back. Listen, the reason why the scriptures say, think on the things that are of good report, it's giving us instructions. It's giving us instructions that we need to be literally patient in the time of trial and tribulation, because it worketh something in us. It creates patience and perseverance and all those different things that you're going to need for wherever you're going. Choose. But whatever you choose, be okay with whatever results that you're going to get. There's a passage where Jesus is talking about, hey, like if somebody sues you for one thing, give them the other thing too. Somebody asks you to walk a mile with them, go with them too. In other words, you be the very thing that you want to see made manifest. Give first. And then it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So whatever you give comes back, multiplied, running over. Even the negativity. If you're going to keep sowing the negativity, if you're going to keep sowing everything that comes to, listen, whatever it is that you put out there is whatever it is that you need to expect back. And that's whether you choose a path or not. You are valuable. You are valuable. And here goes those messages about the pressure it takes to produce a diamond and the mashing that it takes or to create this oil. And we go on and on about these things, and we still kind of, going within ourselves, and we're like, yeah, these things are happening to me, but pressure, it takes pressure to create diamond. But we're saying it still from the perspective as if this is all about us or we're the only ones going through something. No. Every individual, and I don't care who they are, has those pressures. We all go through the obstacles to mature. It is not anybody who does not. So while we are looking outwardly, still focusing on everything that happened, everything that was negative, and not trying to change it, we are just putting ourselves back in the cycle of things. Hey, we all gonna keep doing this. But when you're tired and you step on this path, then what you know is that diamond is going to shine bright because it's learning. Hey, it's already been foretold to me that trials will come. Okay, how am I going to handle it when it does? I'm going to think on those things that are a good report. I'm going to be honest about what I feel in this moment, but I'm going to revert right back. We want to make sense out of things. We want to make sense out of why people are the way they are, but we won't know that until we go within ourselves and ask ourselves them same questions. All in grace, all naked and unashamed. You don't have to be ashamed to ask questions of God. You don't have to be ashamed to say where you are right now in this life. But when you choose a path, you're saying, this is where I am right now in my life, but this is where I'm trying to go. So I'm willing to do what I need to do to get there. First things first, choose what type of reflection you want to do. If it's positive, let it remain. But don't just make it an outward appearance thing. That has to be a heart shift. When we give our heart to God, we are saying, here, take this. Right? He's already within. Here, take this. You do something with this thing. So this says, okay. First thing we got to do is get the toxins out. So you about to be tried with some things so it can come up to the top. Scrape it on off. Keep filling yourself with new thoughts. I know the plans I have for you. Plans not to harm you, but to give you a hope and a future. Or in some translations, it says to give you an expected end. See, when it says giving you an expected end, then of course my mind goes to, ooh, so a man thinks, so he gets, right? So he is, so manifests. But God's desire is to give you a hope and a future. If you're not living in that hope right now, if you're not living in the place of absolute love, if you're not living in a place where you wake up in the morning and you're just kind of bouncing a little bit because you understand, like, hey, I'm here now to give my love a chance. So I got to be a part of healing the land, and I don't have time to focus on the things negative that have happened. I already know they will come. I already know. So why am I ruminating on it? Your focus, if you choose the path of love, is going to be, how do I come to love in the agape way? I'm going to have to dismiss some of my thoughts and challenges. I'm going to have to renew my mind and see things differently. And I'm going to have to feed myself that which is good. I learn certain things because what goes in me don't defile me, right? But what comes out does. So that means, and this one of the things me and him was talking about. Listen, that transmuting things from the inside, they can throw you whatever. But what you do with it is going to determine what comes out of you. And if you're tired of reaping negative things, or you're tired of reaping horrible things, consider the heart. Let that thing rise up to the top. Let all the impurities rise up to the top. Eventually it's going to fall out because you're filling yourself with that pure life water. You're filling yourself with sunshine. Eventually you will win. Faint not. Blessings, Mo. Faint not. And don't be discouraged if you feel like you're not far enough along. If you are trying to apply these things to your life, at least you started. Blessings, Jayana. And thank you for your seed. I acknowledge that. I am, as a matter of fact, about to shift to flow to pray over love offerings and intentional seeds right now. I'm so grateful for those of you who resonate, who see value in the ministry. Thank you for all you do. And I hope that those of you who have already given and become supporters and partners, that you are getting all of the 21 days of forgiveness emails. We are on day 7. It's been released. So it may say a new message from Inspirational Treasure or a new message from Love Walk Outreach Global, whichever one you're giving to. And it's Love Walk one for the forgiveness. So make sure you check the email. I don't think we took our deep breaths. Before I go into praying for over offerings and seed, I know that what I just said, everything I just said, it was heavy. And this is what you're gonna expect when you come into the Love Walk space. We're being discipled. We, all of us, are being discipled in love. And that is uncomfortable sometimes because love does the opposite of what hate and jealousy and envy and anger and rage and resentment would do. Love does the opposite. Put your focus only on that which you want to reap. If it's peace, if it's wholeness, if you want to be surrounded with love. Listen, we all want to be surrounded with valid love, those who we know truly got our backs. You know, everybody wants that. Everybody wants unconditional love, whether we want to admit it or not. You may just have to replenish the page, Mo. We focus on what we want to become, and there's nothing wrong with doing so. why this foundation matters here, because if we gather this foundation of love and we teach ourselves the way, we come and we learn of him. And good night, Christian. Love you.
You too.
Coffee is the preferred way. That's where I keep record of everything. But if you absolutely have to, you can do it at and it will be interesting because people be like, well, Zelle don't have no fees, so it would be great to just get things at Zelle, but that would require me going in, grabbing all these email addresses and trying to put everything in the system. So coffee helps me keep everything in alignment. That is the preferred way. So try to refresh. If not, if you can't, then lovewalkoutreach@gmail.com is the Zelle. If you want to be a part of the 21 days, the only thing that unlocks those messages is to become a supporter. Now, of course, I think I released yesterday's as a public post. So every now and again, I may release a public post, but this was something that was for those who were giving. So you could try one and the other more. Thank you so much for considering. Nevertheless, we're here to be discipled in the way, and that way is love. We learn it, we apply it. That means your heart is always, always being refreshed. Come on, let's take those deep breaths. Again, I know this is pretty intense. It's not necessarily something that we always want to hear, right? We want to feel justified in our feelings. We want to feel justified in holding on to things. Well, again, it's a choice. If you want to feel justified in holding on to things, then you'll go through the cycles until you're ready. Eventually we get out that merry-go-round, we start feeling sick to our stomach, and then we got to throw it all up, whatever we probably ate. When you're ready to get off the roller coaster, when you're ready to get off the roundabout, then it's going to be your decision then too. But you got to decide the life that you want to live and what you want your focus to be, what you want your life to be presented as. Tomorrow has troubles of its own, so tomorrow there may be something that comes up as a challenge. But when you allow your heart to be filled and to shift and to be transformed, you can handle things a little bit better, and you end up beginning to have your expected end, your hope being made manifest. Oh, Rabakataya. Let's go ahead and take those deep breaths. And while you do, first of all, let me embrace you. I just feel the need to hug you. Everybody that's present right now, I just feel the need to embrace. Sometimes the things are so heavy and you're like this sounds good in concept, apostle, but I can't really understand what you talk about right now. The pain is so thick, so deep. And I understand that. So keep showing up. Keep allowing the seeds to be planted. Then they'll be watered. Then God will give the increase. He will not force you, nor will I. Because all things must be done by faith. That can't be forced. So it may not make sense. You may not want to accept it, and that's cool. Go at your pace. But just be mindful that whatever you choose to do, that's what you're going to keep getting the manifestation of. And so if you want the manifestation of joy, happiness, shalom, all that stuff, right? You got to start feeding that, sowing seed into that. Ha, masoto rebaikataya. You need a hug. I wish I could. I wish I could physically do it, but right now I am. I'm holding on to myself. as a representation, and I am squeezing just a little bit, enough for you to still be able to breathe, but tight enough for you to realize that, yeah, you're not in this alone. I got you. Holding you up in my heart as we intercede. One of the hardest things to do is change your mindset when you're looking right at the situations. I know. Does she know everything that's going on in my life? Does she know what happened to me? Does she know how it felt? Does she know it? Whether our situations were exactly the same or not, honey, we've all gone through some things that almost could rip us to shreds and make us want to leave here. But when you start being transformed by the renewing of your mind, life takes on a whole new look and feel. You anticipate all that is great in your life. You anticipate seeing the accomplishments, and you anticipate working through something and building your business or doing whatever it is that you start anticipating it. You wake up in the morning excited about it. But whatever you choose to do, count the cost there. And be okay with whatever decision that you make. You must do it by faith anyway, right? When you're ready, you'll make the necessary changes. Oh, Rabbi Ikataya. So as we take these 3 deep breaths today, begin to think only on what you want to experience in this very moment. I'm not talking about tomorrow, not talking about after you get off of here. I'm talking about right now. What do you want to feel? What do you desire to feel? Is it joy? Is it happiness? Is it peace? Is it absolute love? Do you want to feel accomplished? Do you want to feel successful? Do you want to feel balanced? I hear the Lord say right now to be very careful with even this, right? Because you may say, I just want to be free of this, or I just want this to stop, or I want this to be careful. We got to be careful with our words, because then we start wishing things and people away in our subconscious. And it ends up affecting everything. Even when it comes to job, oh my God, this job get on my nerve, blah, blah, blah. We say stuff like that. And then we end up either getting suspended or losing a job, and then we want to blame the devil for it. No, you said you were tired. God is giving you relief. So be very careful the words that you use right now. But focus on that which you desire. I desire peace. Peace within. That means that even in the midst of chaos, the whole world is trying to survive. The whole world is trying to self-preserve. The whole world is trying to exist. You ain't the only one. But if you want peace, that has to happen within you first. So if it's peace that you want, go within. I want inner peace. I want a sound mind. I want love overflowing. I want to laugh. Yeah, but you start to think about those things and literally put them into play right now. So when we breathe in, we are breathing in that thing that you desire, along with the unconditional love of God. And when you breathe out, you are breathing out anything that's trying to prohibit you from reaching that goal, if you choose. So let's take that first deep breath in. That was just a warm up. Take this second deep breath in, and I really want you to mean that thing. I want you to imagine yourself in that state. When you breathe in, see the smile on your face. A smile that reaches your eyes as you look at your family or your friends or your children or your spouses or whatever whatever whoever you're looking at in your mind. Y'all are enjoying your life. You are feeling their embrace. You are hearing words of affirmation being spoken over you, and you're happy about it because you've accomplished something. Keep that feeling right now. Breathe in. Now we're going to take this third deep breath in. We know what to do. We're going to hold that thing for a minute, long enough for you to feel being detached from breathing. And I want you to be so grateful. God, I thank you that I don't live with that reality of no breath. I'm mindful, God, of the breath and how important it is. Just being grateful. And then release it slowly. And at the end of that breath, I want you to affirm out of your mouth what it is that you've been holding in your heart. What do you want? What do you want? If so a man thinks in his heart, so is he. What thought are you holding in your heart? If it's hard for you to get that thought out because you got so much hate, so much anger, so much resentment, if you got so much whatever in there and it's not working, then this is the moment to release it. To turn away from those things and turn towards something that is greater. That's what we're doing in this moment. So let's take that third deep breath in. I am surrounded by love and light every single day of my life. See, love encompasses so much. It encompasses the provisions. It encompasses the honor. It encompasses peace. All of those things. Whatever it is that you had on your mind and on your heart, receive it in this very moment. Ta-ta-da. Rekotobuhuku. Mashearabaso. Mansoya. That resistance is so strong. And it's not resistance against the devil so he can flee. It's literally resistance against your own freedom. You're resisting your liberty right now. You're resisting your freedom because you're steady ruminating on and going through the motions. Because see, your heart, your heart and your mind are saying, I want to be free. But your decision, your thoughts are combating those things. Well, your spirit is saying, I want to be free. I really do want to live a happy life, a peaceful life, a life of shalom. I do want that. But your expectations are different. Cause it all to come into alignment. Cause it all to come into alignment. Let your desires, your wants, your expectations all to come into alignment. I expect peace. I expect healing. I expect happiness. I expect joy. I expect it. So immediately the smile rose up, the laugh, the giggle rose up out of me because in expectation, I literally can feel and see that result. That's it. By faith, I live. I believe this to be true. So now I'm just literally waiting, not even waiting, I'm just here for the physical manifestation to happen. But it's so happening within me. That contentment is my portion. Shela Mansora, Karamaso, Erarabasorema, Shorema Dios. Jayana, you already know what you must do. And you're wrestling because you keep ruminating on what it looks like. But today I pray that your faith is activated on another level and you're not moved by what you see. But in your prayer time, your reflection time, you begin to think only on the things that you want to see manifest. I want peace for my husband. I want peace for my kids. I want peace in our home. I want joy to be what we experience every day. See that, feel that, be that, and watch things begin to shift. I pray for your physical health, that this too shall pass. Any infection, any residue from the cold or flu, any of those things, we speak to it now. We declare healing. But according to your faith, be it unto you. According to your faith, be it unto you. It is sometimes hard to believe just how valuable you are, Jayana. But as you are transformed daily by the renewing of your mind, don't forget that part. The transformation comes through the renewing of the mind. The transformation comes through the renewing of the mind. So don't disconnect from renewing the mind. Whatever sources you use for that, don't disconnect. Lean in. And then the transformation comes. And then the transformation comes. I pray over Jonathan. Maso rebai kataman siki. Ko rebai shataman soko remai. He is a blessed man. He is a blessed man. That's my preference. That's my declaration and my affirmation over his life. And that's what I shall declare. He is a blessed man. Jonathan is a blessed man. Namasuku rebaikatai. He's a blessed man. He's a blessed man. He's a blessed man. He's blessed when he goes out. He's blessed when he comes in. Therefore, that space will be nothing but peace, solitude. It's an intimate place. He's a blessed man. He is blessed. Blessed in his health, blessed in his mind, blessed in his bank accounts, blessed. He's 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 just blessed. He's just blessed. He's just blessed. Blessed. Blessed in his emotions. Blessed to be able to see liberty, see freedom. The bondages are over. The chains are broken. He's blessed. 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 Korebaishatai. Blessed. Shoo. Taman sokor rebai ikataya. Blessed. Ikataman sukur rebai shatoboso. Blessed. 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 Oh, remayos. Blessed. Can't seem to let it go. Blessed. Oh, remandios. Sotu. Shataman soko. Blessed. Aman soko reba. And so is everything connected to him. Everything connected to him. Blessed. And it is so. Mo, I see your seed on coffee. So reba. I pray right now for your body. I'm looking at your message. I pray for your body. I pray for your body, that which not has that which hasn't manifested yet in the form of pain or anything else. I declare that it's all being healed silently. You go through enough discomfort. You've been through enough discomfort. Your liberty is now if you choose. We kind of been taught to fight for what we want. So oftentimes we start fighting for things when we don't have to fight for anything. We just have to have faith, believe, and ask. It's not a fight. The narrative that you've been taught to fight everything must stop. Fight against the devil. Stop it. We resist the devil so he can flee. We don't need to fight. We don't have to fight with him. Even when it came to casting out devils and things like that, being taught, that's not a fight. Your heart pure. You believe, you speak. When we're here, we're speaking to those things that are trying to oppress you. But you have to be in agreement to be able to let it go, to release it, to come out of agreement with it. I think I'm talking to more than Mo right now. Kora amansu. Ukushutu man sekea robokotobo. Sene amandio kosutuku shatai. Liberty is your portion. And you got to face anything, Mo, that has kept you limited in your thinking and your emotions. So when it comes to business, you'll go hard. It must be the same in every other area of your life, for yourself especially, so that you can show up in the world in all your strength and glory as your authentic self, helping to bear the burdens of one another, strong bearing the infirmities of the weak, living out the Great Commission. That's the Great Commission. To display the love, not to just talk about it, to display the peace. Ha. Oh, Remando Kosatai. Mansoko Remandiastu. Shelamandioko Soraba. You shall recover all. You shall recover all, but it will not come with a fight. And even as we wrestle, we don't wrestle against the flesh and blood of people and individuals and the faces. Remembering the offense is often tied to the face, to the person. But that's not what we're wrestling against. And the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty through God, which is love. So just take this. They're mighty through love. It's the pulling down of strongholds. Love covers. It allows us to live, grow, and expand. When you're ready for full liberation, simply accept it and then begin to allow God to lead you and guide you. Jesus said that when the Spirit of truth comes, he'll lead us and guide us into all truth, which means that all truth has not yet been revealed. So if we limit ourselves to thinking that, oh, it's already been written down, everything has already been said, then we are missing God in every way. We are missing God in every way. There's too much to know, too much to explore. There are generations coming that are going to discover things about God that are going to blow our minds. If we sitting up in that rocking chair on the porch with our hair all braided down and gray, we think we done seen some stuff now, but they're about to explore. We can demonize everything that we want to, but God wants to be explored. He ain't have a problem with being studied or learned. I see when liberation comes though, when you understand Romans 14 in a deeper way. If anything not done in faith is sin, and while we're trying to stop doing all of the superficial surface level things, it's the faith that we need to work on. It's the love that we need to work on. And as we do so, we then grow to understand what's beneficial, what's not, what's trying to control us, what we're trying to break free from. Things begin to change. Maso remandio kosu. I have a seed from someone, and it just says someone. If you want me to pray over you right now, then please let me know who someone was. Or Shatamanso. But it is Somo. I mean, you already know that there's some big plans ahead for you because you desire them within. They're pushing at you. You're going to continue to birth out some things. He wants you to experience. See, we've been worshiping and praising and we've been dancing and we've been doing all these things. But he wants you to experience that life and life more abundantly. For the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. So embrace your rich. Resist that sorrow. And there's nothing wrong with the longing. Whoever this is, whatever this longing is very deep. It's a deep longing. You want something to be manifested. I hear companion. Somebody wants a companion pretty bad. So much so that it literally wrecks your days because you're so busy ruminating on that. The failed things, nobody wants me. Obviously I'm not sufficient enough, because if I was, then I would already have someone. Stop it, I say. And I know that's difficult to stop. But stop it. Again, that what you entertain, that what you feed, that's what's going to grow. So when you are feeling lonely, this person who wants this companionship, when you begin to feel lonely, you begin to feel like you're not sufficient, then you need to minister to that part of you. Whatever those emotions are, whatever those feelings are. If you feel inadequate, then you need to go on a binge of a bunch of self-worth and self-esteem talks and courage and confidence talks, or whatever you need to do. Feel yourself. Now, of course, the voice that you can resonate with. Feel yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Do some affirmation work, but not just with your mouth, from the heart. Because I know that what I say is what I am, or what I think is what I am, and so I choose to think this. I am this. If you feel lonely, spend some time with people that make you laugh. Have a conversation with a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. Go into a group that you're a part of and just exist in that space. Listen, I'm not telling you that you won't ever feel anything, like you won't ever feel these things. You will feel these things. But be proactive in recreating what you desire as opposed to what you don't. Go out. Treat yourself to dinner, or ask somebody if they want to hang out. Go to a movie. Y'all go sit down and laugh, and go to a comedy show. Do something that makes you happy. I want to say before you know it, you would mess around and have a whole encounter with somebody, and but sitting at home and ruminating over your loneliness is not going to change the situation. Nana masora mando kosate. Shatabasora mandio kos. Lala mandio so remandio so. Ora mandio so diamandio so. Shora mansi chiara mandio so to. Oh. Oh. Remandio coso remandioso. Remandio soto yamandio cosa. Ramandio coso toya mandioso. Let me see. So someone, are you good with let me pray for you anyway. Whoever you may be, I'm just gonna flow from that place. I want everybody's seed to be covered tonight. By the way, Jayana and Mo, may they be increased that you weren't expecting. Unexpected income from somewhere. That's gonna help take you over the top, like you're gonna get past certain debts that you have. So unexpected income. And it is so. For someone. Ya Ramando Kosataya Mayaba. Oh Shataya Mansiorobo. Lay down the burdens and the pressures. You're overwhelming yourself. It's a heavy rumination of those things that have happened, those things that seem to be happening right now, and you're overloading yourself. So take a breath. Journal down whatever feelings that you may be having, but take a breath. Find something that entertains you tonight. Find something that makes you laugh. Find something that takes your mind off of the depth of this thing. Whatever it is, someone. I just got to keep calling you someone. But whatever it is, you can overcome. You just got to believe that you've already overcome. Change the nature. If it sends you in some type of emotional overload, it looks like if you do not put this to rest, if you don't let it rest for a while, then you're going to end up becoming, almost hawkish towards some of the people in your life. It's going to almost be like, oh my God, why don't y'all just leave me be? Or, you might start snapping about certain things unbeknownst to yourself. And this is where we end up being the person that offends, because we're so busy in our head about something that we're offended about, or something that just happened, or something that we wish never did, or whatever the case might be, that we start thinking so deep and so hard about things that we're not even aware that we are now about to be offensive to someone. So put it to rest. Come back to it. You're not quitting on your process, but you are using wisdom. Know when you need to take a break. Know when you need to breathe. someone you are. You are a success in your own right. And God says to say it just like that. You are a success in your own right. You are finding your unique expression. You are going to be successful in your own right. In other words, keep working your lane and go at your pace. If you need to pass, pass. If you need to allow other people to pass, let them pass. Stay at your own pace. I feel your energy reaching. You're reaching for something. I don't know if you're reaching for somebody to grab your hand. I don't know if you're reaching to be pulled out of something. I don't know if you're reaching because you're trying to help up someone else. But I see you reaching out your hand. Mansocorremai. Mansocorremandioso. Whatever it is, that is holding you up, the change that you desire is going to be in you accepting the fact that it's okay to choose again. It's okay to make a new choice. Grace is so sufficient. Man socorre baikataya. Grace is so sufficient. Grace is so sufficient. Grace is so sufficient. And it is so. I don't think I needed to know your name, someone, but I pray that that message was what you needed. I pray that message is what you needed. Blessings upon blessings, LaMonica. Thank you for your seed as well. Ain't nothing like knowing you loved. And I believe when people give to myself or to the vision, that says I love you. So I appreciate what everybody does. LaMonica, oh sweetheart. I speak to grief, but it's not just because of the loss or the anticipated loss or any of that. You're grieving something you lost a few years ago, maybe, or maybe even further back than that. But I see something that happened years ago and you've been grieving ever since. It's like you had a great loss. This doesn't have to be a person. It could be a dream of some sort. It can be a vision, health. I think you had a surgery or something some years ago, right? What did you lose? What did you lose within yourself? And that may not be it. It may not be that particular surgery. It could be something totally different. But I need you to evaluate what grief. What is that grief? What did you lose that you miss, that you desire, that you wish would have never left you. There's something there, and it's keeping you in chains because God wants to give you new, but you're stuck back there. You're stuck back there in that place where you lost it. And you just keep saying, God, but I want that back. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. And God is saying, I have something new. Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want the new? Kalamandio sutu mokoraba manseke arabayo konamasiti. The new. I can't even say you recover it because God doesn't want you to have the old thing. If you lost it, you lost it because He's trying to get you to move forward, to go forward. But don't dread it. Don't dread moving forward. Don't dread accepting the new. Just know that you are worthy of what is and what's to come. And it is so. My sorama. For those of you who have sown for the first time on our coffee site, guess what? I believe that you have some things that are opened up to you. If you search down the homepage and there's something that might have been locked before, it should be open now for 30 days. Tonight, I have something also that I want to present. Challenge of sort. I want to present to you an idea of how to surrender to the renewing of your mind. I want you for a second to close your eyes. I want you to, on purpose, envision a storm. And I want you to imagine being fearful. The storm looks like it's so massive, and you are fearful. Raging waters look like it's whirling up. And I mean, it's hitting hard. It's going through its own emotional moment, the earth. Now I want you to consider the fact that you chose to live in this space where hurricanes come, where storms are frequent. You chose to take up residence in this place, or it's your home and you have fear of leaving. The fear of the unknown will make you stand in the face of something that you don't want to experience and be afraid of it instead of changing your location. If you want to be transformed, then you must acknowledge the choice that you have made. Don't beat yourself up for the choice. Just acknowledge the choice and then make a decision from there. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Just now, I just said, hey, you're standing in the face of a storm in a location that it has frequent storms. Why do you still live there if you fear every storm? If you feel like you're too weak to do it, you don't want to regroup every time. You don't want to rebuild every time. So why are you still in that place? Now take this and make it all spiritual, which it is anyhow. You're standing there looking at the storm because you've built your home in the place where they frequent. You built your home in a place where the storms on purpose happen. Listen, it's their residence. That particular area, why are you still there? I'm afraid of the unknown. If I really leave this space that I'm in, I don't know what to do with this, Apostle. I don't know what it means to be free from my emotional turmoil because I've been living with it for so long. That's why you have to renew your mind. And in renewing your mind tonight, you're going to look at that situation. You're going to say, you know what? But there's a familiar place within me. There's a place of comfort within me. I choose to reside there. I don't need to be mad at the storm. Not when it frequents that place, not when it's something that's expected there. I need to shift my location. In your heart tonight, I pray that you would shift your location. You want to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What are you renewing your mind to? I'm not a failure. You're not. You don't have to keep talking about being a failure. All you have to do is begin to speak. I am successful in the things that I've been designed to do. I am equipped for this. So you live at negative thinking, even though you know what comes along in the location of negative thinking. What comes? Storms of more negativity, and it frequents that place. You thinking it's going to come right to you. You calling it. So now change your location. Renew your mind by looking at vocabulary that speaks to the opposite. Renew your mind by coming into this space or whenever we're doing teachings or whenever we're doing flow or prayer, and you intentionally come with your notepad and your pen. You ain't coming just to support me, which, by the way, I'm grateful. But you're not coming to support me. I'm pouring out to you what he's giving me. So literally, I'm on my job right now. So it's my job to give you something. You come in intentionally waiting for it because I need to be transformed. My mind has to be renewed in order for the transformation to happen. Listen, those caterpillars, they eat up, get real big, real fat so they can hibernate inside that cocoon. And then they come out. Oh, so every butterfly is different. How brilliant is God? Listen, we have billions of people in this earth and we're all different. He does no do-overs. He manifested us everything as a unique expression. Come out. Come out. When you fully gone through the process But you got to start somewhere. Take a deep breath in for me. Create in us a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within us. Mend every soul present, heart, mind, thoughts, ideas, will. Liberate those that are ready. Shetaman suku remandias. Hayamandio. Peace, 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 peace. Remember that perfect love casts out all fear. So step into the embrace of unconditional love right now. Shataya mansore baikata. The presence that's never in absence. Never in absence. Ask God right now, embrace me. God, embrace me. Embrace me. Let me feel that tangible presence. I'm willing. Amen, LaMonica. I love you so much just because I can. I pray that you rest well. That you wake up in the morning refreshed and ready to see what tomorrow holds, but enjoying the moments that you still have left from this evening. Do something that makes you laugh. Do something that makes you feel alive. Do something that makes you feel refreshed. Just choose your reflection. The negatives or the positives. Which gets your focus. Think on these things. Many blessings.